Check, 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 check.
Hey, I'm Nick. I'm a private pilot and traveler who enjoys flying airplanes and seeing different places in the world. I hope you find my content entertaining, and if you do, consider subscribing to my channel.
Okay, party people, let's get the weather.
120 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 4. Mist. Sky condition clear. Temperature 18 Celsius. Dew point 17 Celsius. Altimeter 2993.
2993. Monterey Unicom Skyhawk A1 Lima, radio check.
Loud and clear.
Thank you. Monterey traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima, taxiing from hangar 9 to the run-up area, runway 23, Monterey. We're going to go through our turn here, get out of parking, and taxi down here to the run-up area. That sun is a little bright. Monterey traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima, departing runway 23, straight out, Monterey. Get out here on center line, and we will apply full power smoothly. Heels are on the floor, toes off the brakes, RPMs are good, oil pressure and temperature gauges are both in the green, and airspeed is alive. We'll wait on our rotation speed. And rotate. And we're in the sky, everybody. We rotated very early, just due to the very low temperatures here this morning, as compared to what is normally what we've been seeing lately. So density altitude is a very real thing, and it was just proven just now on our takeoff roll. We were able to rotate very quickly, and even right now at our VY, which is our best rate of climb, we're climbing at about 600 feet per minute. So because of the cooler temperatures, the density altitude is a little bit lower this morning. And it feels good. It's not super hot. I was sweating a little bit on the ground, but man, now that we're up here and the air's blowing, it feels very nice. Monterey traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima, departure leg 23, straight out, Monterey. Alright, let's go through our climb checklist here. Power's good, mixture's good, all of our instruments are good. We can turn our landing light off, and we're not going to be opening a flight plan. Man, I'm going to tell you what, these early morning flights are absolutely awesome. I'm not having to, I can pretty much fly hands off right now, just because the air is so smooth right now, and it's very nice. Okay, so what I'm doing today is I'm going to go down to another airport just to get some time in the plane, and I'll have to see the distance on that to see if it's cross-country time. But anyways, like I said, I'm just going to fly a little bit. I haven't flown in probably 5 days or so, and that sounds a little spoiled of me, but I do like to fly on the regular, so that's what we're doing today. If you're considering getting into aviation, here's my advice. Do it. And I know that's easy to say, because obviously finance has become a thing. Even just the time commitment, there are going to be times where you're going to have to put in the extra time in the evenings and on the weekends maybe, and need support from your family or your spouse or whoever you live with potentially. I did not think that I could afford it, just to be completely honest with you. I make a decent living and my wife works as well, but let's be honest, flying is very expensive. But if you're on the fence about it, it is certainly an investment in yourself. I don't know of another time in my life that I have been more proud of an accomplishment than the day that I took my final check ride, my final test. It's just, I don't cry very often, but if I did, I would have cried that day. I was so happy. Because again, I don't know very many things in my life that besides this that I have put so much time and effort and money and dedication and studying, just trying to learn how to fly and be a pilot and learn everything. Learn how to handle emergency procedures, learn how to navigate, learn how to be gentle on the controls and what all the instruments do and the parts of everything that it takes to be a pilot. So I guess all that to say, if you are considering getting into aviation, it is very rewarding. I saw a quote one time that said, once a man walks the earth, or once a man fly, he'll never want to walk the earth again. And I personally think that is very true. This is a very fun thing, and I also just enjoy the fact that it opens up opportunities to do things that you would not normally do. Not necessarily things that you can't do, but things that you would not normally do. For example, if I wanted to wake up this morning, I could fly to the beach, have breakfast, and be back in 2 or 3 hours. Versus if I was to drive, it's over 3 hours one-way driving.
Delta is
So,
downwind for runway.
not to say that you could not wake up and drive to the beach, but you normally wouldn't, and that's what I'm getting at. Flying opens up the opportunity to do things that you normally would not do. So that's kind of why I got into it. I also just like being in the sky, especially on days like right now where the air is so smooth. There's a little bit of low fog in certain places down on the ground, and it looks awesome, and I enjoy doing it. And we're just going to go over to Pageland. What I realized is I only have this plane for about another hour and 30 minutes. And while I would have time to go to where I was going to land, I don't want to fly all the way down there because it's 48 nautical miles and it will not count towards cross-country time. I'm not going to waste my time going down there. I'd rather go to a smaller airport with less traffic, a little bit closer by, and just work on some landings. Guys, this is absolutely beautiful, and I'm hoping the camera out the front is able to see this, but just kind of with that low-level fog, I personally think it looks awesome over the ground like that. So, it's not looking good out to our other airport either, just with some fog. I think we're going to head back to Monroe and do landings in Monroe. Okay, so I made a video on this a couple weeks ago, but it basically took me 8 months to the day from the time that I took my first Discovery flight until the time that I took my final check ride. It was literally 8 months to the day. So if you're thinking of getting into this, let me kind of go through it with you. I did a Part 61 flight school, which basically means it's not a formal schoolhouse. It's kind of at your own pace, pay as you go in my case. The reason I think that I was able to get it done fairly quickly is because I went 3 nights a week every week for about 2 to 3 hours at a time. Now, I say fairly quickly, I had a lot of hours when I took my check ride, and I probably could have taken my check ride about 2 months quicker than that. So I have talked to guys in the past that even with Part 61 flight school, 8 months is not very quick. So it can be done quicker, but I, again, went 3 times a week, every single week with very few exceptions. I did a little bit of traveling and stuff, but from October to June. So I was able to get it done pretty quick. In my mind, that was quick. I had heard horror stories of some buddies of mine that it took them 2.5, 3 years to get their pilot's license. The next stop for me in aviation, again, I do not plan to do this as a career, at least not right now. I have a pretty good job right now that I can't really leave, or don't want to leave. But my next stop is to work on my instrument rating, and part of me doing that now currently is studying for the written test, as well as getting pilot and command time for cross-country hours, which is why I was going to go down to the other airport this morning, but I realized it wouldn't have counted as cross-country because in order for it to count as cross-country time, the airport needs to be more than at least or more than 50 nautical miles away from your origin airport where you took off from. So unfortunately, that one was 48 miles, which is kind of a bummer because I would have went north instead of south and got the cross-country hours this morning if I should have just done some better planning. Honestly, I was never planning to do cross-country time. It's kind of a last-minute thought. We're going to get out here a little bit more. I'm going to turn to the north just a little bit. Alright guys, I think I'm going to head back to Monroe. Depending on how much time, what the traffic's looking like, we might do a few landings. But I think that's that.
Charlotte Monroe Executive Airport.
Automated weather observation 1158 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility.
Winds are calm. We'll head in for runway 23 unless somebody else is in runway 5. But Winter traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima is 10 miles southeast of the field, inbound runway 23, Monroe. I also like it in the mornings like this. Number one, the air's calm. I mentioned that a minute ago. But also, there's nobody out here. Right? Yes, I got the whole airspace right here to myself. Currently, I am in Echo airspace. We're getting ready to cross into the Gulf airspace as we're going back into Monroe. But, yeah. I'm under the Bravo airspace shelf. It starts at 6,000 feet. It goes to 10,000 feet, of course. And right now I'm at 2,900 feet. So, I do have the airport in sight way out there. It's probably hard to see on the camera. I say way out. We're 9 miles away right now. But, we can go ahead and check a descent checklist. We really didn't climb a descent, but our mixture has stayed full rich the full time. Fuel's on both. Carb heat we'll get in a minute. We got the weather. We set our altimeter, and all of our instruments look good. And then when we get closer, we will do a pre-landing checklist. And you can probably see out the front camera, potentially. There's a water tower out there. And that is our aiming point, because if I can fly over top of that water tower, it sets me up perfectly to enter on a 45 for the downwind runway 23. And if you're not in aviation, the way you enter the traffic pattern is on a 45-degree angle into the downwind. So that water tower is exactly 3 miles away from the end of the runway, and it's 45 degrees abeam. So I always aim for that water tower. It's a good visual checkpoint as a VFR pilot. That's a good point. So I do need to start descending because we want to be, I don't have much to go, I only have 200 feet to go, so it'll be a slow descent, but you want to be at pattern altitude. I was taught to be at pattern altitude when you are 3 miles out. So we're 7 miles right now. Again, we have plenty of time. I'm only 200 feet high, and we're descending at like, what, 80 feet per minute right now? I mean, hardly anything. So, I enjoy this type of flying that is very hands-off, minor adjustments with the fingertips, instead of having to always fight the wind with a death grip on the yoke. I don't have a lot of flying experience. That might get easier for me as I do get more experience, but when it is windy and gusty, I tend to get, not the death grip, but I'll get the death fingers. I'll do these 3 around the yoke rather than the full hand. But either way, I need to lighten up on that. Every instructor I've had has told me that, so.
Altimeter 2994. Remarks. Density altitude 1,300.
Wind is calm still, which is awesome. Winter traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima is 5 miles southeast, setting up to enter on a 45 to join the left downwind, runway 23, Monroe. And I am at pattern altitude right now, which is 1,000 feet above the ground. The airport elevation at Monroe is 683 feet, so I'm at 1,700 feet right now. And again, we'll turn towards that water tower. And in line with that water tower is Monroe Airport. So for those of you that are trying to look it up on a map or on FlightAware or Flight Radar or ForeFlight or whatever, and by the way, off the front, you can probably see downtown Charlotte. Maybe the camera can pick that up. There is downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. And this airport is Charlotte Monroe Executive Airport. It's just to the east of Charlotte under the Class Bravo airspace. Monroe traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima is 3 miles southeast of the field over the water tower, entering on a 45 to join the left downwind, runway 23, Monroe. And as we enter the traffic pattern, of course, we want to make sure that no one else is out and about. I've kind of been scanning the whole time we've came in, and I don't see anyone. They should be easy to spot because we're all supposed to be at the same altitude. And I don't see anyone on the ADS-B either. So. And when we turn downwind, I like to be about a half a mile away. I like to be about a half a mile laterally away from the runway. Monroe traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima is turning left downwind, runway 23, Monroe. Alright, we're going to do a pre-landing checklist, brake pedal test. Good, landing light coming on, autopilot's off, we don't have that. Seatbelts are up, mixture's full power, or all the way in, full rich. Carb heat we'll get in a second, fuel's on both, and we'll get our flaps here in just a second. So we're going to wait till we're at our beam, our landing point, and start reducing power. And we'll drop 10 degrees of flaps. Traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima is turning left base, runway 23, full stop. And that guy's getting ready to land right now. He's over the threshold. Let's put some more flaps down. Power back a little bit. We're a little bit high, but we're okay. Traffic, Skyhawk A1 Lima is turning final, runway 23, full stop. Okay, everything's looking good. Our airspeed is almost perfect. We're a little fast, but not terrible. And we can adjust that a little bit by pulling our nose up and pulling our power out a little bit to keep the speed reducing without climbing. So there, our airspeed is almost perfect. Little touch of power. And there we go. We'll bring it on down to the runway. Go into the flare. And that was very, very smooth. Not to brag on myself, but that was pretty good. Okay, everybody. That's pretty much it. I'm going to stop everything here. Appreciate you joining me on this, and talk to you in the next video. Have a great day.